Alright, we start with a check. We could ISO some of these as well. I think as you get a bit shallower, you typically ISO them a little bit more. We'll start with a check here. The ISO ranges are always interesting. The ISO shove, the ISO bluff shove ranges are always interesting because at these stack depths you tend to ISO a lot more of your sort of suit connectors, and as you get shallower, you ISO fewer suit connectors and more just one high card, one low card type bluffs. And one of the reasons for that is the limp trapping range gets very different. So as you move from say 12 big blinds to 7 big blinds, let's take a hand like ace king off or king queen off or something like that. They are now just open jammed rather than limp trapped. At 12 big blinds we would limp cool versus an all-in with king queen or king jack off or ace king off or ace queen off, etc, etc. And at 7 big blinds we just open jam all of them. And why that is important is that when you then think about other hands that will limp trap, it then becomes more likely just the sort of 10s, jacks, 9s, stuff like that. We're going to call jack 9 here. And what is better equity against a hand like 9s, 10s and jacks? A hand like king 2 suited. What is better equity against a hand like ace king off, king queen off? A hand like 6-5 suited. So you can see how your ISO bluff ranges will shift depending on the makeup of the small blind trapping range. And as that shifts, so would the response in terms of the ISO range. I hope that makes sense. I think it's quite a nice sort of thought pattern to, once you kind of figure out, you're like, oh yeah, you know, for most people they're like, oh yeah, it can be a bit of a what do you call it, a brainwave moment or something. Is that what I want to say? Brainwave? Light bulb. That's probably a more accurate word. We're going to jam 8-5 suited. Richard says, hello Richard, how much is rake mate in these $500 spins? Rake is 4%, which does make a difference. So the nice thing is that makes a big difference from 5% in the long run. And of course, you know, having it, we don't really have a trapping range of 4.3. If we tried to limp these to trap, it would be, I think, perceived as incredibly suspicious. So we're just going to jam. At 5.5 and above, I would limp 10s. Below 5.5, I would just open jam them. And I just don't have a limping rate. Aces, I open jam. Below 5, would just literally just jam or call. Against regs. Against recreationals, you definitely can. Like, no problem at all. 9 off versus for 5.3, I think we have to call. That's not a fun one to be up against. Blockers mean nothing. We block the 9s. It's all good. Well, I think, if I'm totally honest, we ran pretty good the last couple of weeks. And so I think we're probably... not that these things actually exist, but let's say it's probably our turn to donate some pre-flop EV back to our opponents. We'll give the King 6 off a little raise here, non-lead. Nemesis, mate, have a nice day. How are you today? I'm doing very well, thank you, Nemesis. Un abrazo from Patagonia, Argentina. Un abrazo para ti también. Muchas gracias y buena suerte, todos mis amigos. We're going to check this board pretty... you can't get too many worse boards in terms of hitting the opponent's range. Yeah, we have a gut shot, but it's to the bottom end. The 7's not exactly like even run out. We may be just drawing dead in terms of the King of 6. I'm actually okay folding here without the heart. If we had a King of Hearts, we'd do something. We wouldn't be folding. But I think with King 6, I'm actually okay folding. You think, well, hang on, you're folding the gut shot there. But, like, which hand do we have that isn't a gut shot? You know, any 6 or above is a gut shot. I mean, we could have ace king or something, obviously, but ace king off we shove, and so it's all, I think, easy to over. Like any queen x is a gut shot, but a queen x is actually a much better gut shot because it's an overcard, and also it's a gut shot to like hit a much stronger straight than hitting the bottom end. So I'm okay with a check fold there. Slurpy says, Thomas, do you think if I study all of your spin and go footage, I will successfully be a professional poker player? Not if that was it. I think it could definitely help in certain aspects. But you'd want to probably do some also extra study as well. What I would say is, like, if you have been following the channel for a long time and you've been passively absorbing things, I would say if I was a low stakes guy, I would try and play along every time. And every time I did something different to what instinctively, or as a drop of pen, doesn't matter. Every time something on the table is different to what maybe you at home would be thinking, I would raise 10-2 off here, for example. I mean, you're obviously not. But then those would be good spots to examine and think, okay, why did Tom raise there? Like, I might be right. I'm not saying I'm right, but obviously if I'm playing, if you're playing $5 games or something, there may be a better chance that the spots will be slightly, will have had more focus long term from myself. And so those would be good areas to think, okay, maybe big blind versus button, I'm overfolding certain spots or whatever. Again, just throwing out random ideas. But those are all, yeah, I think that would definitely be quite a good assistance to a lot of spinning those particular players. Guys that are playing different games, if you're playing, let's say you're playing like cash or something, that's definitely going to be something to there will be elements that will apply, but you'll have to obviously not try and look so much at the specific ranges, more the kind of approach behind it. I'm not sure, but it might help Slurpee. It might hinder you. It might help you. I don't know. Word is every single day. Word is not every single day, I'm afraid. Ultras, no. Grease is the word. My name is Matt. Good guess, but no, unfortunately not. Chicken is the word. Can you show the chicken in the background? Yes, I can. Get the Haribo off the table. There's a little chicken here. It's a doorstop that is on a desk now because I don't really know what else to do. My mum bought me that, and I didn't really know what to do. And then she was like, "Why don't you put it on in the background of your little poker show?" You know what parents are like, you know. Bless her. So it just sits there. We're like, ooh, Burger Rast, thank you so much for the follow. Follow. He's been following for months. We are supposed to fold this, aren't we? 1.4. I think so. Burger Rast, let me catch up. I think that's just low 1 point something. Also, we just folded and we get dealt ace king, so no. Cheers for the $50, mate. Have a good session. Thank you for the subscription. Have you double subbed there? Is anyone else getting a double sub notification there? Also, I keep calling you Burgerast, and I feel like the correct pronunciation should be Buggerast, shouldn't it? Thank you very much, Buggerast. Congratulations on your marble success. $50 going your way. Have a good session. Thank you very much. Alright, let's call the 10A off. Serendipity might even be the word. Ooh, unfortunately not, but good guess. The word is special. The word is not special. So it's a very normal looking word. Hola, Tomo. Good luck, good. Is this? Hang on. I can't see your question for some reason. See thread. I don't know. Is there someone here that uses GTO Plus and knows how to import ranges? I got a text file but don't know how to import it. Super Mario Fish, I'm a big fan of GTO Plus. So is the Beast. I'm happy with all the GTO Plus guys here. It's one of my favourite software. There's lots of good ones, but GTO Plus I think has the most yeah, customizability, let's say. Something like that. It's like a PO, but I think, yeah. Hey, we won 2.5k. That's good. Well done for the Beast and Super Mega Fish figuring out how to chat to each other. It's always nice. We're always encouraging friends being made on this channel, so that's nice, you two. Bluffing ranges can make opponent fold hands that crush us. Is it the case also with those ranges that you mentioned? Bluffing ranges can make opponents fold hands that crush us. Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean, right. You're absolutely, that's true as well. Yeah, if you have 10x and you have king 2, that's absolutely correct, yes. It's a combination, isn't it, of like the hands that are limp folding. You want to try and, if you like, I mean, to be honest, you also want to kind of unblock those in theory, but yeah, it's a bit of everything. That was just a sort of simplistic way to just focus on the exact value parts of the range. You didn't actually mention, you're right to mention the, quote, weaker parts of the opponent's range as well, because it's obviously against the range as a whole. But if you just focus on the strong parts of the range, people tend to remember that sort of stuff, so yeah. But yeah. We could have min-raised this, we could have limped this. We chose a limp. We can c-bet this, we can check this. Pretty indifferent. Let's choose to check. No, let's choose to bet this, actually, because we can call a check raise, I think, with this hand, and I don't mind folding the equity. It's close, though. Well, to White, welcome, Morgan. Have you ever used Spinwise or a similar tool? So there's lots of different tools out there. Spinwise, there's Lucid GTO, there's GTO Base, there's Insta GTO, there's PO. I think they all have their pros and cons. I think 601, for example, is associated with Lucid, and I think Lucid does a fantastic job. And I think is quite well priced, and is very solid in terms of that. There's also GTO Plus and GTO Base are obviously two different things. GTO Base is I like the software as well. Spinwise is fairly new, so I think they still have a couple of stuff just to iron out, as far as I'm aware, but I'm sure will be a very good software as well. Do you think working on GTO is necessary for a $3 spin and go player? Yes and no. I would say it's overstated, the impact. Like, you don't need it. You don't need to have a solver to be a successful player at the low stakes. So when I was moving up the stakes, I never had a solver until the boy Nicky has just subscribed for 13 months. He's on an 8-month streak. Hey Tom, if they're not subbed, then who? Is Henny subbed? We don't know, but thank you, boy Nicky. We appreciate it, mate. Hope you're doing well. So we get limb stabbed here, 1BP. Yeah, it's actually quite close, this one. We could even open fold, but I think we'll just go for a call. Depends a little bit on how we rate San Antonio Sands super delays. Could be definitely some 7x, and so we'll start with check. I would imagine he's not going to bluff too frequently this spot, because he has to have basically any card above a jack feels like pretty good to check down, right? So even if you're sitting here with, let's say you bet jack 8 or jack 6 or something on the turn, you might think, well, I've got some showdown. I've blocked some of the folds, like whatever. And so when he bets 2BB, I think we're fairly comfortable folding this. We block some bluffs as well. Like the main bluffs you'd want to target would be like hand like 4-6, 4-5, I guess. So, and I mean, we have some 7x, for example. We even have some 9x maybe that we'd check if we had like 9x with a diamond, or nah, probably not though. So Walter, I would say when I was moving up the stakes, I mean, admittedly the games were maybe a bit easier in 2015. When 2014 was, the end of 2014 was when I first got into spin and goes. It's when they first came out. But I went from basically the $7 games in 2014 up to the hundreds by 2017, and I'd never used a solver, and my win rates are always really, really good. And I think solvers can be very, very useful, but they can also be quite dangerous. You can definitely use them in the wrong sort of way. We're gonna have to drop down a little bit, aren't we? See if we can get a game at 250s. And what I would say is a lot of guys, especially low stakes guys, you get the solver and it feels a very powerful tool. And you think, you can think, oh, brilliant, you know, like, here's a magic thing that will tell me forever how to play every hand and never get a mistake. And of course, that's very dangerous to fall into that habit where you are completely focused, hyper-focused on your own range. Huge part of poker is obviously understanding your opponent's ranges as well and making sure that you're very vigilant about it. I think there can be a sort of that very what's the word I'm looking for? There's a very attractive idea that exists in poker, which is I'll just play my hand's GTO. It doesn't even matter what my opponents do. Happy forever. And that's a very dangerous thing, I think, to have that in spins. If you're playing heads up with like 1% rake, no problem at all. But at the $3 games, you're probably playing, what, 7% rake or something? And then when you take away, you know, the $1 million spin, it's going to be even higher effective rake. And don't forget, the $1 million spin will be more rake depending on how your win rate is. So the lower your win rate is, the more reliant you are on top multipliers to start making actual profit. And if that's the case, Chippy V is quite important. You know, I think it's I mean, you can obviously have EV deals, and you have things that will EV pools or whatever. But yeah, making sure that you don't just look to be unexploitable, but also look to profit maximize, I guess, is a nice way to kind of summarize. To always keep that focus if you can. But yeah. Would you ISO shove 10x King 2 because opponent might fold King 5? I would ISO shove King 2 off, yeah. To be honest, the beast, like, there are some opponents I wouldn't, but most regs I would. It's GTO. I wouldn't try and deviate that much. It's 100% GTO as well. There's a couple of hands which will be more mixed. And you also have the 1/3 sizing and stuff like that. And so if you take, for example, like let's say 7-2 off or something, that's primarily 1/3, but it's like a mixed frequency, and I think that would be one where you could deviate a little bit if you think your opponent's slightly under VPipping or slightly too strong with the limping range. Not that that's really an issue at 10 BB because everyone limps everything, but yeah, then you can make some adjustments, obviously. Buggerast says, yes, the latter pronunciation is more correct. That's good, Buggerast. I'm happy. If you want to really be a tryhard about it, try to say it like a Finn would. Ooh, how would a Finnish person say Buggerast? Where's my Finnish person's references? Sami Hupia. How would Sami Hupia say Buggerast? How does Sami Hupia talk? Or Mika Hakkinen? These are, you can see I've got a very good Finn knowledge. All quite dated, aren't they? From the early 2000s. That was peak Finland time. Where's the sound for the subs? That's not happened yet. We will at some point in the future have sounds for subs, which is going to be subscribers can request the next song of the channel. It's going to be subs and then a couple of channel points.